In today's video, we're going to be making a special full-tang feather Damascus knife. It'll be a drop point with forge-welded bolsters and some ancient, dated 2,000-year-old sinker cypress. Let's get to it. All right, so this is a billet I forged several videos back. And, you know, my intention here was to make two full-size drop point skinners. So, but with a full-tang knife, you know, I'm going to take up a majority of this. I've got about a little over 1/4 inch thick here, and so I don't have a lot of room to draw it out to, create a couple big blades out of. So I'll end up making a folder blade out of this if I've got enough. I should have plenty there. It'll be a little more bolder pattern. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it right here. This is the pattern knife that we'll be making, and it'll have forge welded bolsters in here, and I'll be using some different stock. I've got 240 layers of W's forged together from a previous video that I'll be making those bolsters from, and we'll be forge welding them to the blade. But I've got to draw this out a little more to make it fit the length of this blade. And then I will do a little profiling, not a whole lot, because forge welding and bolsters is pretty tricky. And if you hit them too hard, you get some wonkiness where they're forge welded. It's a pretty delicate operation, you know, to do. And unlike where you make an integral all in one piece, this will be like an integral, or will be when I'm done. Although if you're testing for your ABS knives for your presentation blades, they don't allow forge welding bolsters, which is way more difficult to do, but I don't know why they don't allow it. Whatever, and I'll be using this bog cypress. The customer requested, this is a customer blade, everything here. Otherwise, you know, I would have made two full-size blades. Now, it's a little waste, you could say, a good bit of waste, the whole width of the handle. But it just, you know, I could make a frame handle, but it doesn't work well with bolsters. The bolsters are going to be that wide, so it doesn't work very well. And unless you're doing it as a guard. And then this material just looks better too in the frame. So we're going to get this cut. I'm going to get it in the forge. I'm going to draw it out to length, clean it up, get our bolster material ready to forge weld, and we'll take it up from there. So after about an hour of prep work and 30 seconds, I've got my billets welded up. I went ahead and welded this short one up because I'm going to draw it out a little bit for a future project. Maybe 2 folders, who knows. But I've got the billet welded up. I like to put them on a bar because I've got more control when I'm doing something like this. And I've got the bolster material ready to go. Now the pattern is on the end of the bolsters, so they're going to be forged down. This is 240 layers of W's. And those, once forged down, will go on each side of the tang, just like this. They'll be forge welded. Of course, they're going to be drawn out and probably around 3/8 thick. So got a little forging to do. Let's get the forge going. All right, I went ahead and cleaned the bolsters up, did a test etch as well as the blade. So I've got everything test etched, and I went ahead and scribed my blade on here. I know you probably can't see it, but I wanted to mention that I made a mistake when I was forging the tip, which is all I really want to do, kind of move the center around. I'm not worried about forging it to shape because I'm going to cut it out of there. Too much distortion. I mean, it's already more distortion than I really like, but so I forged the tip in the wrong direction. And so all I had to do was just turn the template over, and I've got plenty of material here, and it works out that I've got my stem flowing in the center of the blade, which is what I want. It comes out, flows in there. My bolsters, the pattern, and I'll do some close-ups here for you. Pattern's in the, here on the flat side now, since I mashed them down from the end, and they will have kind of like these explosions there on the top with those W's, and the close-up will show you what I'm talking about here. Now, this is something that I initially learned by watching Salem Straw, and after talking to him, he gave me several pointers, and I've made several blades this way with welded bolsters, forge-welded bolsters since then, and I'll put a couple examples up right here. And it is a delicate and tedious operation for me, because if you forge too much, you crush your spine, and then you got to even that out when you grind it. So you need to leave your billet thick enough that you can adjust for that when you come in here and grind and clean up your bolsters, where they're now going to be integral. And I'm going to leave them long on the back side, and I will mill cut that off of there. You can do it with a grinder, but it is difficult. You just have to anneal each time, and which I'll be doing anyway. I won't do a full anneal. I'll put them in the forge, let them cool off, but I'll let them run long. I've done this a couple different ways of mounting them temporarily to forge weld them. I have welded the back side and milled that off, and that works. It's rough on your cutter, but I'm going to anneal anyway. Or you can come in here and strap it across the top. I don't want to weld them across the top because then that weld gets in there. I'm going to cut this template out a little bigger than what I've got scribed here so that I can adjust to it and make sure I get any weld inclusions and clean up the edges real nice so that it'll look good. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to profile it. I'm going to leave a handle on it so I have something to hold and control. And then we'll start getting the bolsters temporarily mounted, get them cleaned up and square and lined up properly, because I want the explosions to match on each side. There's a center, a dark center, and I want them to match on each side, and it'll look nice. So we'll get that cleaned up, and we'll start working on getting these bolsters mounted and forge welded. Okay, so I just got the bolsters stuck on each side and strapped across the top and bottom with just welded some straps. Got them, bound tight, and then put those straps on. I put just a slight tack with the TIG on the very back side in the center of each bolster. All I need them to do is stay there long enough in place that I can get my forge weld done. I got them soaking over in some oil, and I will get the forge going and get them forge welded. But I want to show you what I got right here. I've got a kiss block set up, and this kiss block is about a 1/16 shy of the full width of the bolster and tang together. That way I don't overshoot when I come in here and press it. Now, I've done it without doing this, but it's easy to overshoot. I just want to get that first weld, good solid weld, and then I will put it back in the forge, bring it out, hit it a couple times with a hammer, and we'll be welded. That's the plan. All right, everything looks pretty good. I went ahead and normalized and did the grain refinement and did a fast DET anneal so I can drill holes and do the machining I got to do on the back side. Everything looks good. So, you know, I left them long each direction. I don't know if you can see those marks I got there, but this will be cut off here close to a 1/4 inch, be milled off square. And the bevels will come in here. This will be beveled up to that line you see on the front side there. Quite a bit of work to do. Got to come in here and taper the blade, distal taper it up to here, and clean up in here, probably bring it down, taper it a little bit. Now, one of the things, the other problems you can run into, I don't know if you can see this, but you can get from forge welding these bolsters, you can offset your tang from the blade. And I have a slight offset. It's not bad, but it's just a little bit. I can easily clean that up. I will, you know, put reference marks in there when I start doing the machine work, tapering and all that to fix that. It's just one of them deals. So, and that can happen on, you know, forged welded or forging an integral without forge welding bolster, just forging an integral guard or bolster on a knife. It's, you know, something you run into. So I'll get that fixed. A lot of work to do. So the next thing I'm gonna do is get the holes drilled, get everything cleaned up pretty close, and shape these bolsters. And they'll be, you know, I'll come in here and they'll be curved a little bit on that bevel when I start beveling it. Then I will heat treat and we'll be ready to put on our handles. But we're going to do that on the next video because we're out of time. I want to thank you for watching. If you got any questions, leave them down below. I want to thank my patrons. We're going to see you on the next one.